on behalf of Business Sweden, the Swedish Trade and Invest Council, the Embassy of Sweden in Ankara, and our main partner Epiroc, I would like to welcome you to the second Turkish-Swedish Mining for Generations 2021. My name is Edin Erkocevic, and I am the Trade and Invest Commissioner of Sweden here in Turkey. Before we move on, I would like to inform you that this webinar is being recorded. We at Team Sweden here in Turkey are proud to be organizing the second edition of this platform in Turkey, and happy to see both some familiar as well as new faces, this time in a digital format. The aim of this platform is to gather the mining industry's interests, develop the Turkish-Swedish trade relations within the sector, and discuss how more sustainable, safe, and efficient mining can be achieved. Turkey has set a strong focus on developing its mining industry and on growing as a minerals exporter, and we are confident that Swedish experience and innovative Swedish mining solutions can play a decisive role in this development. We are happy to see this high number of participants, almost 90, a highly interesting lineup of speakers and presenters, and we are looking very much forward to today's discussions and exchange of best practices. I would now like to invite Ambassador of Sweden to Turkey, His Excellency Mr. Staffan Herrström, to welcome you. Staffan.
Thank you very much, Edin. Dear participants, merhaba, günaydın, good morning. I'm the new Swedish ambassador to Turkey since September. I arrived here after 5 years as ambassador to Thailand, based in Bangkok. I'm very happy to have this opportunity now. This is the first event of its kind for me here in Turkey. So I'm really looking forward to spend these hours with you. Turkish-Swedish Mining for Generations platform is meeting place for the mining sectors of Turkey and Sweden. Turkish mining companies and operators with a local and global footprint, Swedish technology and service providers, as well as international investors and Swedish export credit financing. Turkish mining has grown since the early 2000s, and metal minerals such as gold, chrome, and copper have gained significant importance for the Turkish industry. But obviously there are challenges ahead as well, challenges within safe, sustainable, and efficient mining. Especially given the need for underground deep mining in the future for Turkey, Sweden is a natural partner country. And it should be underlined, environmental sustainability has become like a part of the Swedish DNA. Turkish mining companies have global and local footprints with strong relations to international associates in the form of joint ventures in Turkey. Swedish companies provide innovative and high-quality solutions to meet demands of future mining challenges within transportation, automation, waste management, drilling, separation, communication technologies, artificial intelligence, and facility management. Swedish companies offer solutions. Swedish companies offer solutions that are sustainable, that are smart, and that are energy efficient. Important factors to be able to be competitive in both today's and even more so in tomorrow's world and projects. We hope that our Mining for Generations platform, which now is taking place, I've learned, second time, this time in a virtual format, will result in win-win partnerships. Win-win partnerships for all of you, for Turkish mining companies, for Swedish technology suppliers, and for Swedish and international financing institutions. I will end by thanking everybody involved making this event possible, Business Sweden and Epiroc, of course. But I also want particularly to express my gratitude to the General Directorate, Mining and Petroleum Affairs, and Deputy General Manager Murat Durceylan. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you for giving attention to this important event. I wish you all a very fruitful day. Çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. It is now our great pleasure to welcome Mr. Murat Halit Durceylan, Deputy General Manager at the General Directorate of Mining and Petroleum Affairs, MAPEC, as our key speaker. Murat Bey, please.
Sayın Büyükelçi, ticari ateşi ve değerli katılımcılar. Öncelikle şahsım ve kurumum adına hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum. İki ülke arasındaki iyi ilişkiler daha üst bir seviyeye taşınması dilediğimiz madencilik sektörümüzün tanıtımı ve geliştirmesi adına olumlu bir adım olarak gördüğümüz ve ikincisini gerçekleştirdiğim bu organizasyon ve nazik davetiniz için teşekkürlerimi bildirmek isterim öncelikle. Malumunuz dünyayı saran COVID-19 salgını nedeniyle birçok kavramı ve kuramı yeniden bir gözden geçirdik. Artı bu organizasyonları da malumunuz yüz yüze değil de ekranların başında gerçekleştirmekteyiz. Dileğimiz o ki yine böyle yüz yüze gerçekleştirdiğimiz organizasyonlarda birlikte olmak dileğimiz. Türkiye madenciliğinden daha önceki toplantıda da hatırlarsanız bahsetmiştim. Türkiye'de madenciliğimizde hızlı bir değişim ve gelişim süreci geçmekte. Ve güncellenen politikalarla buna hızlı bir ivme kazandırmaya çalışıyoruz. Bu konuda belki de en çarpıcı örneğimiz yine herkesin ilgisini çektiği altın üretiminde ki 2000 yılından sonra da ülkemizde her yıl artan oranda ki geçen yılki indekslerimize giren rakam 42 ton seviyesine ulaşmıştır. Ve bunu da önümüzdeki yıllarda arımacılığı da tabii ki hızlandırarak arttırmayı planlıyoruz. Bakanlık ve Genel Müdürlüğümüz sürdürülebilir madencilik ilkelerinden temel ilke edinerek bu yönde ciddi ve kararlı bir tutum içerisinde ki bunların da meyvelerini görmek üzereyiz ve alıyoruz da. Metalik madenlerde artan üretim miktarları bunun en güzel yansımaları olarak karşına çıkıyor. Artı kıymetli katılımcılara özellikle şunu belirtmek isterim. Özellikle bakanlığımızın üst düzeyde öngördüğü ara ve 3 ürün üretimine yönelik tesis şartlı maden sağlığı ihalelerimiz başlamıştır. 2019'dan ve 2020 ve 2020'de ana hedef ilkeler haline getirdik bu ihale süreçlerini. Burada da asıl malumunuz hedefimiz ülkemiz maden kaynaklarının katma değerinin yükseltilmesi ve ülke ekonomisinin payının artırılması amaçlanmakta. Yine hepimizin bildiği üzere günlük hayatımızda neredeyse bütün bileşenlerin ham maddesi olan kimi zaman bilinçsiz, maalesef kimi zaman da kötü niyetli uygulamalar sonucu kamuoyunda bazen madencilikle ilgili yersiz tepkilerle karşı karşıya kalıyoruz. Fakat bunun sürdürülebilirlik ilkesi adına en azından bu kamuda kötü algıya olan ön yargıları diyelim silmek adına gerek bakanlığımız gerekse hazırında bulunan STK'ların da destekleriyle anlatmaya çalışıyoruz. Tabii bu kötü örneklerle ilgili de gerek STK'larımız yani sektördeki bileşenlerimiz gerekse kurumsal olarak, kamu kurumsal olarak biz de her türlü önlemi de almaya da çalışıyoruz. Çünkü birinin yapmış olduğu bir yanlış tüm sektöre mal edilmemeli diye düşünüyoruz. Yine sözlerimi noktalamak üzere madenciliğin parlak potansiyelinden yine bahsetmek isterim. Özellikle Türkiye'nin yer aldığı tesis kuşağı olarak adlandırdığımız madenlerimiz ve minerallerimiz arama süreçleri tamamlanmamış bir bölgedir. Bu nedenle özellikle arama madenciliği ile ilgili hem kamu olarak hem sektör olarak birçok önlemi ve birçok şöyle ifade edeyim, teşvik yapmakla ilgili politikalarımızı geliştiriyoruz. Yıllar içerisinde arama faaliyetlerinin artması ve maden kanunda yapılan değişiklikler yerli yatırımcılar kadar siz değerli yabancı yatırımcıların da ülkemizin potansiyelinin ilgisini artmasını hedefliyoruz ve bu hedefler çerçevesinde bu ilginin de arttığını müşahede etmekteyiz. Ve metalik madenlerde hem rezerv oranlarında hem de az önce bahsetmeye çalıştığım altın örneğinde olduğu gibi metalik üretim miktarının arttığını çok ciddi oranda görmekteyiz. Yine hepimizin hemfikir olduğu üzere madencilik emek yoğun ve yatırım riski büyük bir sektör olmasının yanı sıra biliyorsunuz tüm sektörün birinci ham maddelerin sağlandığından sürdürülebilmesi için mineral kaynaklarının aranması, bulunması ve üretilmesi mecburi. Ancak bu gayemizi gelecek nesillere düşünerek ve çevreye ve insana duyarlı en büyük hassasiyetlerimizden biri bu. Kendini sürekli yenileyen bir şekilde gerçekleştirmek zorunda olduğumuzu düşünüyorum. Hepinize en içten saygılarımla sunan bu çalıştayın ülkemiz ve madencilik adına hayırlı olmasını dilerim. Hepinize saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Çok teşekkür ederim Murat Bey. Thank you very much. It is indeed a great journey that Turkey has made within mining from 0 to 42 tons in 20 years. That's a great job. And as also looking at the mining regulation, we hope that this will encourage more investments in the Turkish mining, and we are of course ready to exchange best practices and experiences from Sweden as well. Thank you very much. Before we move on to our first presenter, let me first introduce the agenda for today. The Mining for Generation platform is divided in two main parts. For the next 2 hours, we will listen to some very interesting presentations about the mining industry, both in Turkey and Sweden, some innovative solutions, as well as hear interesting insights into financial solutions, exemplified by a mining case study from Turkey. The second part, after lunch, consists of B2B meetings. Here, I would like to urge you, we Swedes like to use that word, to continue to book meetings throughout the day. Please note that meetings take place only when accepted by the other part. And I would just like to take 2 seconds of your time and show you how this works. If you just bear with me, I will try to show you right now how you book meetings and how you accept meetings. So here, for example, is my profile. When you log in, you come to this page, you click on book more meetings, and you find a person that you would like to request a meeting with, and you click on request meeting. You can of course also write a message here. Hi, would you like to meet? And of course, maybe explain why you would like to meet. The person will receive this request. So here, Özlem will receive the request for this meeting. It will come on this page, meetings, and it will come here as a request, and you need to accept it and choose a time where you want to have this meeting held, and you confirm the time. And the meeting is now set. When the meeting takes place, you will click on the green button, and also you can invite up to 1 colleague of yours to this meeting by clicking on this link here. And normally a link comes up here, and you can share this link with maximum 1 colleague. Okay? So please book more meetings, accept meetings, but also if you don't like to have a meeting, reject that meetings. Good. Now, this is our extensive lineup of speakers today. As you can see, and after all the speakers and all the presenters, we will also have the opportunity for a Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions, write it in the chat, and we will collect and moderate these questions at the end of the session. Now, let me first invite Mr. Mehmet Yilmaz, Vice President at the Miners Association of Turkey, our supporting partner. We're very happy for that, and also Chairman of the Board at TÜPRAG. Mehmet Bey, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Erin. And I'd like to also thank to dear Mr. Ambassador and dear Mr. Deputy General Director of MAPEC for their welcoming speeches. So while I will try to share my screen, I would like to express my only experience visiting Sweden years ago. I think I can easily say that this was probably top 3 among the visited countries. What I've seen in terms of such a nice countryside, such friendly people, and the freedom, and by all means, I was really happy there. It's still in my memories, and I'll definitely try to make another visit anytime, hopefully after this pandemic days. So can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. So as I'm introduced, I'm the Vice President of Miners Association of Turkey, and dear Mr. Chairman Ali Emiroğlu is also participating to this meeting. And I've been actively doing mining last 34 years in my life. And I'm just the CEO and General Director of a Canadian mining company in Turkey, and we're dealing with precious metal mining at the moment. So I think, as we all know, mining is one of the oldest professions in the history of human being in the world. I think what we believe, as long as we have the any kind of economic activities or industrial activities, mining will definitely be there. Because without the supply of raw materials for the any branch of industrial activity, we need to mine, and we need to bring the raw material or ore into the picture so that the industry will continue. But I think only the condition to continue with today's modern understanding, which is valid for all industries, is it should be sustainable. So it should be beneficial to the quality of life. It should be beneficial to the economic development, both in local wise and global wise. And by doing that, I think the first thing is that we need to remember in our activities, we need to give enough amount of importance to the human being, and then give enough importance to environment, and then think about mining after all these. Because otherwise, we cannot really talk about sustainability. So it's basically what we believe when we say sustainability is safety, environment, and communications with the local people, and plus the financial transparency. So after this general description regarding to mining and importance of mining, what do we have in Turkey? What are the opportunities in Turkey? I think based on 30 plus years of experience in this country, I can say that we have pretty good infrastructure, and we have excellent geological potentials, mineral potentials. And according to a compilation, the total underground wealth of Turkish mineral potential is about $3.5 trillion actually. And we have on such a great underground wealth, we have a very good educated workforce in this country, both blue collar and white collar. And in terms of mining opportunities or existing mining industry, we have almost 10,000 mine operation permits, just slightly above 5,000 licensed mineral exploration activities, and almost 6,000 business on mining opportunities. I think one of the most important strengths of mining in Turkey, that Turkey is always open for foreign investment. And as an example, as dear Mr. Deputy General gave an example from gold mining, almost 50% of gold production in Turkey is being done by foreign investment companies. And maybe it started as majority as a foreign investment companies. The majority of the gold production was being done by the foreign investment companies, but now it's almost 50-50. So it's bringing know-how, it's bringing Turkish mining industry is quite open for innovations. And I think the last important point is that the Ministry of Natural Resources, as well as MAPEC, they're quite supportive to the industry. They're always trying to support the industry, especially after a little bit of a slowdown in 2013, 2014. Recent years, we see that there is a great acceleration in processing the permits and delivering the licenses as quick as possible. So this is, I think, one of the important strengths doing mining in Turkey. So what's our goal? Our goal is to produce more ore and do more sustainable mining, and just make it attractive to the communities and bring welfare to the communities around the mine sites. So I think there's, on that sense, if you think about Turkish mining industry and Swedish mining industry, I think that this kind of brings me to say that, well, there's a kind of a great opportunity to see that it can go parallel to each other, especially thinking about engineering products, machinery, transportation equipment, telecommunications, and electrical devices. I think we see that there's great opportunity in Sweden, and I think those opportunities in Sweden could easily be transported or transferred to the mining opportunities in Turkey. If you look at the, those are the numbers that I tried to gather from websites or after the little surf in the internet. I see that in terms of exports, Sweden is getting about the $64 million of export from Turkey, which is 2.5% of the exports of the total mining sector in Turkey. And if you go to the other side, how about from Sweden to Turkey? I think we've been, this is approximate number. The approximate volume is about $190 million. And again, it's accidentally similar in terms of ranking as well. It's among the other countries, it's the rank of 9th right now. So it's almost 3.1% of total import volume of Turkey in mining. So I think going back to previous slides and talks, I believe those percentages and amounts are not sufficient. If you look at the opportunities, we have great opportunities on each side. I think we can go ahead and increase those numbers much more than where we are right now. So in order to do that, I think what we need to do is establish more bridges and collaborations between two countries, and develop more volumes in the trade. And I mean, I know there's always very tough global competition, but I still believe that there's big potential to develop the growth in between two countries, especially on mining sector. Right now, this is again another compilation from the available sources. We have 3 big companies in Turkey. Those are Epiroc, Sandvik, and SSAB. If you look at the other countries, America and German, there are about 7 big companies that are active. So that's another good indication that we have still way to go to increase the number of interaction between two countries. As a final slide, so what are we saying here? We say in Sweden, we have high-tech equipment and machinery opportunities, and we have a very good potential, very big potential in terms of mineral reserves, geological reserves, and opportunities for mining, and we have qualified workforce. I think this is telling us that we need to work a little bit harder, develop more relations, and bring more technologies to Turkey, and offer more business opportunities on the mining sector of Turkey, so that we can probably bring the relations at much preferred levels. And I believe this is possible. I believe we can do it. And I would say I'm really happy to be able to say something in that occasion. And thank you very much for everybody to listen to this presentation, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mehmet Bey. Let us now go. Well, actually, it's interesting looking at how many Swedish companies, etc., are here. There's of course other companies who, like Volvo and Scania, who do other kind of equipment, but also some of the, let's say, import-export might be also assembled here in Turkey. So we actually did a report on this value creation of Swedish companies in Turkey. We have a lot of Swedish companies that actually create value within Turkey, and this is not visible in our import-export or our trade balances. But we agree, and this is why we're doing this. There is much more to be done. I would now like to invite our next speaker, Jenny Greber, Program Director at Swedish Mining Innovation. Jenny, please.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm sharing my screen now. Let's see.
We can see it.
Perfect.
Oh, now we cannot.
Oh.
I think you probably went full screen presentation mode and then it disappeared. Mm-hmm. Now we can see it again. Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. So thank you very much. And first, thank you to the previous speakers, Mr. Yilmaz and Mr. Durceylan, and also thank you to our hosts today, Mr. Ambassador Hellström and Mr. Commissioner Erkocevic. I'm very happy to be here today and pleased to be invited. I will give a brief overview of a little bit of mining in Sweden, and then talk a little bit about the program that I'm representing and what opportunities there might be within our program. So first, a few words about Sweden and mining. And as you might know, in Sweden, we have a very long tradition of mining. We've been mining large scale for approximately 900 years in mining. We are a small country, at least when it comes to how many people we are, but we do have a very rich bedrock. And currently we are mining and producing gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc, and of course iron ore. And approximately we produce 90% of EU's share of iron ore in Sweden. We also have very prominent industry where we have about 60% of the global underground equipment coming from Swedish suppliers, one of them being present here today. We also have the most productive open pit in the world, which is the Aitik mine, a copper mine in the northern part of Sweden. And underground mining, we have the Kiruna mine, which is the world's most productive underground iron ore mine, also in the northern part of Sweden. And the reason that we can be this quite successful, even though we have a very small country, is because we have a really I would say, long and good tradition of working together. We do innovation through collaboration. We have a strong mining cluster, and we have the mining companies, which are all in the forefront with high ambitions when it comes to productivity and sustainability. We have good technology providers. You recognize them here on the picture, many of them. And we also have universities and governmental entities and other research providers that are working together with the technology providers and the mining companies to drive the industries forward. On top of this, we also have a government that supports innovation, and we have very strong national programs with public funding towards this. And the program I'm representing is one of those programs. What we have done in Sweden is that all actors in the mining cluster have jointly developed an innovation strategy. The first edition was 2013, and then we update it every 3 years. So the last one was published 2019. And then we work together to develop this long and short-term strategy on how to reach the vision, which is that we want to be a role model when it comes to social, economic, and environmentally sustainable mining and metal production. And this roadmap, for us, it's more than a document. It's also the process of creating it is bringing all the actors together and allowing us to actually join forces towards a joint vision, which is very valuable. In this roadmap, sustainability is the main focus. And here, of course, we mean the 3 different layers of sustainability. It's economic sustainability, it's social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. And this roadmap covers everything related to mining, starting with exploration and prospecting and ending with reclamation and environmental performance of the mines. We also have a strong focus on attractive workplaces and gender and diversity and also social acceptance. So it's not only the technology development, it's also the more softer parts. And we work towards challenges that you see in the circles here. I will not talk through them, but it's a lot related to sustainability. On top of our mines right now, I would say fossil-free operations and also digitalization and automation is the main priority. And I will mention a few examples of that. First, a few words about the program that I'm representing. This is the National Swedish Mining Innovation Program. It is an industry-driven program. It means that industry is guiding the direction for the program and also covers minimum 50% of the funding for the program. It's open to all stakeholders that are willing to contribute to meeting the vision and the goals that I just presented. And 50% of the funding comes from our Vinnova, our innovation agency, and our energy agency, and Formas. And we are steered by the industry, and you see that the industry companies here in our steering board is Epiroc, who we will meet today, Zinkgruvan Mining Company, Boliden, and LKAB, along with the Swedish Mining Association and institutes and academia. So the main idea is to innovate through collaboration, and we fund innovation projects and strategic projects, and we do some education and PhD activities. We have workshops and symposiums and events, and we also have an innovation idea competition, and one of the speakers later on today is actually the winner of that in 2017. That's Whitefind. We have a Swedish Mining Innovation Award that we award to a company every year, and we also have one of those winners with us today, and that's Orexplore coming later. And we work a lot with internationalization and outreach, and that's, for instance, what I'm doing here today, presenting to you and trying to make collaboration happen. So what we do is that we don't fund commercialization, but we fund innovation and development. So basically starting on a technology readiness level of maybe 1, going up to 7. That's what we can do. And some examples on how we combine the strength of the cluster. We're trying to do this through these strategic projects, and they are often in the form of roadmaps. One of them is the roadmap for fossil-free mining and minerals industry in Sweden. The other one is a roadmap for mining with nature and for increased biological diversity. We also work a lot now with traceability of sustainable metals. So a lot of focus again on sustainability. And some short examples here. Epiroc, we will also see later today, is part of a consortium working with the mining company LKAB in a new project 2 years ago, started sustainable underground mining. And that's to develop a new world standard for sustainable mining at great depths. And another example about what we're doing a lot in Sweden when it comes to automation and digitalization. I want to show this. We're very proud of this. This is in New York Times, a paper published 3 years ago. And it's about how we're working with digitalization in Sweden, that we are actually taking big steps towards being autonomous in the mines. And this is fine. We are happy with this, and we are very open to change. So I think this is part of the reasons why it actually works. And this particular paper was about Boliden, the mining company, how they're working towards automation. Boliden also are investing a lot in electric equipment, and they are investing currently about 30 million euros in expanding the electrified transports in their 2 open pits in Aitik, Sweden, and Kevitsa, Finland. And here they will they will reduce diesel consumption and also increase productivity as the speeds are higher for these trucks, and also improve work environment for drivers. But this is a very big investment for Boliden. Before I end, a few words about present state regarding fossil-free mining in Sweden. As for now, the mining and mineral sector generates about 8% of the total carbon dioxide emissions in Sweden. And we know that the fossil fuels are used in several parts of the industry's value chain. We have greenhouse gas emissions coming from transport and mining operations, and also from the processing. Most of the emissions comes from the production of the iron ore pellets. And many actually parts of this process are already fossil-free, particularly in the mining operations. But we are still some way away, and we think that by 2035, we will have completely free, fossil-free mining operations. The challenge here is a lot regarding access to green electricity, but also the infrastructure for charging and hydrogen tanking can be a challenge. The last example that was already mentioned in the movie that you saw in the introduction here about Sweden is that we are trying in Sweden to create fossil-free ore-based steel. And this is a consortia with SSAB, which is a global leader in high-strength steels, and LKAB, I mentioned already, Europe's largest iron ore producer, and Vattenfall, which is a leading European energy company. And basically what they're trying to do is to do this with hydrogen and fossil-free electricity and hydrogen instead of coal as previous. And we hope that we have a pilot plant in place, and we hope that this will be up and running in less than 10 years. So our innovation program is trying to accelerate all these things that are happening and support the cluster in working together, and also fund parts of these projects. We're also trying to work with international companies or companies from other countries, such as Turkey, for instance. We don't have any Turkish companies in our programs yet. We hope that we will. We have countries from, I think, 10 or 8 other countries than Sweden. Foreign actors cannot be beneficiaries, but they can work in the projects and benefit from the results that we have in the project. So if you think that this is interesting or want to know more about what's going on in Swedish mining innovation, please contact us. We have a website, and we also have the LinkedIn and Twitter, and you see our emails here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you for this inspiring presentation. And this is, as you saw, this Swedish innovation, let's say, ecosystem. Sometimes we call it the triple helix, and this is basically what we are trying to copy paste here and create a Turkish-Swedish mining innovation platform, if you want to say, bringing together mining operators, technology suppliers, but also the regulatory part and even the academic part. Let me now introduce Mr. Frank Boudreau, our next speaker, Electrification and Transformation Lead at the Underground Division at Epiroc. Mr. Boudreau.
Thank you very much. Let me share my presentation here. There we go. Thank you for the introduction. Special thanks to Mr. Ambassador of Sweden in Ankara and Mr. Deputy General Manager. Thank you also to Business Sweden for organizing this event, and of course to all participants and former presentators. Underground mining battery electrification usually takes a good 2 hours to get a good introduction, but I'm sure due to this highly qualified audience, we will be able to cover this in just 15 minutes. One important point about underground electrification is to understand what are the driving forces, what's motivating the elimination of fossil fuels being used underground. One of the reasons might be the new legislation, rules, or standards that have been introduced, very much the case in Europe, I would say. Another reason could be for health and safety. This is directly looking after the people that are present, that are working in the mine, by reducing their exposure to diesel particulate matters, reducing their exposure to nitrous oxide gases or other exhaust gases, reducing their exposure to noise and heat. Other motivation could be from a total operating cost. And finally, the fourth driving force that is common is from an environmental point of view, addressing global warming, carbon dioxide footprint, but also considering the overall energy utilization. And different mines, different companies will see different factors being the driving ones for them. It's not universal for everyone. When it comes to battery electrification underground, this is not new for Epiroc. We've been around for a while. Our first battery-powered machine was put underground 8 years ago in 2013. It was the machine to the left here, a 7-ton capacity loader. It was later followed by a matching truck, meaning that they worked perfectly in pair with 20-ton capacity, and a face drill rig. And these machines have been in operation since starting 2013. And altogether, they've gathered over 120,000 hours of operation at productive mines in real mining environment underground. This was our first try at battery electrification, and we learned a huge amount and gained a lot of experience. So we've decided to move further and look at a new generation of battery electrical equipment. On the outside, they may look very much the same, but on the inside, there's a lot of new technologies, a lot of differences, and much higher performance, I would say. And this is a snapshot of the family we can offer today. It's a loader, again, a 14-ton capacity loader, so twice the size of the earlier offering. We have a small brother to this one with a 4-ton capacity for the Chinese market, specific for that market, but the 14-ton is globally. We have, again, the perfect pair between a loader and a truck, because they often work together, a 42-ton capacity mine truck. And we have drill rigs. The drill rigs, it's the translation which is battery electrified, not the drilling. So it doesn't affect the front of the drill rig, which varies quite a lot. But it means that we electrify a platform, the carrier, and then we're able to providing the whole family of medium and large size underground drill rigs with battery technology. So it's a total of 13 different models that are in the portfolio today. Developing this generation of battery electrical vehicle, we entered a number of partnerships. Two of them are mentioned here. One of them is with ABB, perhaps not necessary to introduce ABB so much, but another very important one is with Northvolt. Northvolt is a Swedish junior company with the intention of producing the world's greenest batteries. They are building their gigafactory in northern Sweden right now in Skellefteå. And they will be our sole supplier for our batteries. So together, our ambition is to, Epiroc and Northvolt, to allow our customers to produce the world's greenest metals and minerals. Very quickly about our batteries. We didn't reinvent anything here. We used all the good work and all the right technology that is available and adapted it to our environment. So we start with fairly small cells. We package them into module. This is typical from the car industry, but then our equipment is much bigger than personal cars or even heavy automotive vehicles. So we need a lot more battery capacity. So we then build subpacks with modules, and then we use a different number of subpacks to create a battery for a specific application. But what I want to say here or highlight is that regardless of what size of battery you're using on a given piece of equipment, the inside of this battery will be the same in form of subpacks, modules, and cells. It's only their numbers that will vary. So there's a great modularity in this, and this is a great achievement for serviceability, supply, even future development. But perhaps the biggest innovation around battery electrification for underground is not technological. I would say that it is commercial, and we call it batteries as a service. What is batteries as a service? The name pretty much gives it away, but it means that a customer who wants to go for battery electrification may not have to purchase the batteries needed to operate the machines on site. Batteries are still today quite expensive, and this can be seen as a hurdle, as a barrier for our customers, for mines, to move towards zero emission. So batteries as a service can be seen as an instant, seamless technology leap based on a pay-per-use rather than a capital investment or a material acquisition. It is based on 5 pillars. The first one is health and safety. As it says, batteries as a service. The service is provided by of these batteries is provided by Epiroc and by Epiroc's trained and certified personnel. The health is also the fact that you're reducing all the emissions underground. I mean, a special working environment where every breath of air you have has to be ventilated in and out, compared to a normal working environment where you get fairly simple ventilation systems. The second pillar is that because of the way our batteries are designed and built up, it means that we are open to advancement in technology. As cells will come with higher capacity, we will be able to introduce this into our batteries. It means that a customer, instead of buying a battery and being stuck with it over the life of the battery, if there are new technology available, it is fully possible to upgrade those batteries to the latest and greatest, giving a much faster benefit to users of battery electrical equipment. The third pillar is service and connectivity. We want all these batteries to be connected to a network to be able to send information and receive information. This is important for us to be able to run remote diagnostic, to be able to see the health of the batteries. This is important for our customers to see how they're used and their availability. One great pillar, we call it endless warranty. The term warranty or limited warranty falls out of the dialogue when we talk about batteries as a service. There's no more questions about warranty. So that's a big relief for the users, rather than having to buy batteries for nearly a million euro and having to worry about the warranty of these batteries. And then the fifth pillar, which is mostly for the operations and financials, is that it gives you a predictable running cost. We are in a position where we can tell you not exactly how much a battery vehicle, electrical vehicle will cost you to run, but we will be able to give you a very good estimate. And the cost will be based on monthly installments rather than capital investments. So this is very new to the industry. It has been accepted extremely well. We see this from the customers and the business that we're running. But we haven't reinvented everything. There are a few things that we took straight out from the automotive industry, such as the interface between our batteries and the chargers. Standards are great. They are there to be used. And this is an area where we absolutely followed the industry that has been active with battery electrification long before mining, the automotive industry. What's different is that our vehicles are used in a harsh environment. It can be hot, it's humid, it's dusty, it's a bit brutal sometimes. So we need to have heavy duty components. And that's why we decided to develop our own charging solutions, make them available. But because we're using, and they are especially designed for underground mining application, but because we decided to go for an industry standard, it means that it is OEM agnostic, meaning that any other supplier which is using the CCS standard can supply a charger for our vehicles. We're not locking the customers to Epiroc for charging solutions. We're just trying to provide the best suited product here. And chargers, we have them in a range of 40 to 340 kilowatt, either mobile or stationary. You may think that this is quite a large achievement, but we've done even more. In order to accelerate the move towards battery electrification, we've developed an offering of conversion products, meaning that customers that have today diesel-driven equipment can convert them to battery technology, helping them to move towards zero emission even faster. And we're even working with some other OEMs that have completing products to our offering. And the picture to the bottom right here, Yama, a Swedish company making scaling machines, is a very good example. We've taken our battery and electrical drivetrain and together with Yama put it on their scalers. So they are in a position to offer zero emission products as well. We talked about carbon emission, carbon footprint. I'd like to put numbers onto this. And if we look at the carbon footprint of a truck, if we take the MT42 diesel, 42-ton capacity truck, over its service life, it will produce 2,680 tons of carbon dioxide from the fuel it will have burned. 2,680 tons. If you compare this to the MT42 battery, the zero emission brother of this machine, if it is running on renewable energy, you will actually have 0 kilograms of carbon dioxide emitted during the life of this vehicle, during its utilization. However, production of batteries does have an effect on carbon footprint. And with Northvolt being our battery suppliers, the batteries required to operate this machine would generate 26 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So if you compare 26 tons to 2,600 tons, you see that you can achieve a 99% carbon footprint reduction. And this is the message I usually give to the industry, saying that mining houses, mines, have a much bigger impact on the environment than we have collectively as individuals. There is no way we present at this conference can match this carbon footprint reduction. However, the mining industry in their decision can do so. And it comes with other benefits. 70% reduction in energy utilization, and in certain cases, even 10% production increase. So we do believe that battery electrification underground is a power change that changes everything. And with this, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Frank. This is really, really exciting developments, and we are eager to hear more about this. I just wanted also to remind everyone, please, you can still book meetings. Please also accept and reject meetings. If you haven't downloaded the application, you can actually do meeting bookings through the application as well. So please go into your profiles and book more meetings. Before we go on, I just wanted to have a recap of what we have left. We are 10 minutes behind schedule. So right now we have a session with Swedish mining innovations. We now listen to Epiroc, who has been around for almost 150 years, previously as part of Atlas Copco. And now we will listen to three rather new Swedish innovative companies and their solutions. And after that, we will have a presentation from Mr. Ulmaz Musaliev from EBRD, showing us some examples of how to get and how to use financing in the mining sector. And after that, we will finalize with the Q&A session. So I would like to invite our first small innovative company, Ore Explore. Please, Mr. Kevin Rebenius, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Edin. Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Rebenius, and I'm the CEO of Ore Explore, and also the co-founder. And now I will see if I can share my presentation. Okay, can you see?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay, excellent. So Ore Explore is developing technology for mineral analysis and drill core scanners. And what we do, different from a lot of incumbents, is that we're actually looking inside the drill core. And this is an example from Gold Road Resources. And this was supposed to be a rotating image. And perhaps you can, if you're interested, you can get that later from Edin or Batu. But this is an example where you can see it's a quartz vein, and inside you can see actually pyrite crystals and also gold grains. So this is what we do. And the theme for my presentation was 3D X-ray vision through drill core for enhanced mineral mapping. So what we do is that we collect a lot of data from every meter, basically, and we look down to on a millimeter scale up to a meter scale. And this is to support data-rich block modeling. So this can be used for mining and metallurgical and environmental considerations. And basically it's helping you to get geological insights as fast as you can, so that you can spend more time on the interpretations rather than on collecting the data. And in the end, this will lead to more informed decision making. So the scanner that we have is called GeoCore X10. It's a drill core scanner. And this one is designed for base metal analysis. and it can be deployed on a mine site or an exploration site, but you can also have core analyzed at one of our labs in Sweden or in Australia. So what you get is a high resolution tomographic image of the drill core with a 200 micrometer resolution. And you can scan between 4 and 6 meters of core per hour, depending on the resolution that you require. Also coming up is a specialized version of this machine for gold scanning. So we're very excited about that, where you can see smaller grain size of gold and also detect gold itself. So the machine is loaded with the drill core using a loading station. So the core is put inside a sample holder, which is of plastic or carbon fiber. And then it's placed into a rotating set where you can have up to 4 pieces of core inside the machine. And then it will bring it in one by one and have it analyzed. And after analysis, the information or the data is brought up into our software, or Explore Insight, where you can navigate through your drill hole, and you can look at density, you can look at your concentrations, and also get a zoomed in on interesting areas where you can see the actual 3D image of the drill core. And this is, of course, you can access this from anywhere in the world. Just a short summary there. The core is extracted from the mine and then analyzed in the machine, brought up in our software. As I mentioned, there are many data sets, but especially it's the tomographic image where you can see all sorts of information. I'll come back to what they are. You can look at the elemental concentrations and density. And this is then brought up to where you correlate it between drill holes, and then it ends up in the 3D model. And then it's kind of circulated back that you iterate this process. So what we're trying to do is to reduce the geological uncertainty. And the method that we are using is a combination of X-ray tomography and fluorescence. And we're also measuring the weight of the sample. There is a scale inside the machine. And we're using a mineral model to model the material based on these 3 basic box, where we'll have a look at the different data sets. So the first one is from the tomography, where you can actually see the structures inside the drill core. And here are examples of planar structures on the right and also linear structures on the left, which is very hard, especially to see from the surface. But here it's very, very visible when you look inside the core. You can also interrogate the particles inside the drill core. So here are 2 examples of kind of fractions from different parts of this core box. So you can count them, and you can also get the fractions or the size distribution of these particles. And moving on to density, as I said, the machine has a scale inside, so you get a measured density by just dividing the weight by the volume that we get from the tomography. And then you can also get the variation, in this example from the top one here, depending on how how dense the material is across this meter, essentially. We can also have a look at, for instance, joints and their orientation, and this can be auto-extracted from the tomography, and this can then convert these orientations, alpha beta angles, to dip and strike distributional plots. And you can also measure RQD or other geotechnical aspects of the core. So this is also something that we have semi-automated for this space, and it can do different types, not only RQD, but also the Q system. So it's very interesting. Okay, just some examples. We've had machines installed at Hellascold in Greece and at Azrael Medit in Bulgaria. So Azrael is primarily a low-grade copper mine, and Hellascold, they have primarily zinc, lead, but also gold and silver and copper. So what they've used our technology for is for digital high-resolution structural core logging, and also for detecting geotechnical features, and also enhance their 3D geomodeling, which you can see an example of here. So this is an example where the geologist on the picture has brought it in his Leapfrog system. And the technology, it emanates from the medical space, and it was introduced by this man, Associate Professor Ragnar Kullenberg. So he was doing research on the human body and measuring heavy metals there. And then the idea was introduced to, okay, can we apply this to rocks actually? And this is what we've been working with now for the past 10 years. And the machines, as I said, they can be used on site, and we have established a system where we can have several machines. In this case, it's 3 machines in a sea container, so that it can be deployed on any site, and it's protecting from the environment, and you can also have the climate system in there to maintain temperature and so. Yes, so that is a short presentation on ORExplore. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. This is extremely interesting. And please, if you have any questions, write them in the chat. We will collect them for the Q&A session afterwards. So please, any questions in the chat, and again, continue booking meetings. I see that the accepted meetings are increasing, so things are happening. The next speaker is from Transtronic, Lars-Erik Lindqvist. Please, Lars-Erik, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. Try to start the presentation here. So everybody sees it?
Yes.
Great.
But we see your screen with your notes, not the full screen.
Not the full screen.
I think we have to choose which screen to show or something like that.
It should be there. The presentation should be there. Still not there?
We see it, but when you go presentation mode, then we see this two screens.
Ah, okay. It's
maybe you can share screen 1 or screen 2, so you can choose which screen to share.
To the top left, you have your menus, visa, bildskärmsinställningar, and then you can choose to swap them. Yeah.
Ah, great.
better now? Better?
Not really, actually.
It's so typical. We tested this before the meeting, and sadly to say it was working then. How shall I do this then? I tried to unplug this and see what's
exactly.
happening.
Yeah, just do it on one screen. It's
Yep.
better.
There and there and so. We should have.
Yes.
Okay, at
Thank
last. As one of the smaller fish in this pond, I should be short and accurate. Transtronic, my name is Lars-Erik Lindqvist. I'm representing the small company Transtronic in Sweden. And what we are doing is more or less that we are looking for the end result of a blast. In the American TV series, it starts with a big bang, and in my world, it ends with a big bang. We are not as old in the business as Epiroc, just 50 years. And our main business is that to help the drillers getting to the wanted position instead of the actual position. In a perfect world, we always drill with the right angles and ending up in the correct point, but in the real world, sadly not. It's always a difference between those. And the technology has moved forward since 1972, when we used mechanical instruments, it's pendulums and gearboxes and so on. This is two pictures showing a little bit what we can help the driller and the drilling companies now in Sweden. You see this core here where it isn't parallel to the surrounding drill holes. It has an error in the lining up the feeder in the coloring point when it starts drilling, and this is what we can help the drillers with. This picture is a little bit dark, but you can see here on this core here, this hole, it's more or less straight up to here, and then it's bending like a banana, and that is not what we can help you with. That is an issue for the drillers to set up the rig in the right way. And if you see, it's quite quick. It gets a lot of distance. The wrong, how shall I say? Ends up quite a huge distance wrong when you started with a very small alignment error. We're a manufacturing company. We're doing lots of equipment for drill rigs, both on surface and also on underground rigs. Data recording, logging instruments, transducer for heavy environments as well. And why should you use our equipment and the benefits? The sustainability seems to be the word of the day, and sustainability, one of the things there are things that in the end we're talking about economy and money. We are going to save the society and everything what we can do and use as little resources as possible. And by drilling right, with the right angles and the right depth, you can save a lot of money, work hours, fuel, electricity, as we have been talking to, but also wear of the machine, less explosives, reduce over under burden. You can leave less ore and get less waste rock out of the productions. And if you are in the construction business, you are interested in getting better and smoother tunnel profiles with less afterwork. Safety is also an issue here, where when you can drill in the wanted directions and have control of it, you have much better control of the burden, which helps you to reduce flying rocks and things like that. We've been on the market since 1972, and we have all the time been designing and producing equipment for rock drilling industry. We are a small company with the benefits and that we have the whole design chain in-house. From the ID to the finished product mounted on the rig, wherever it is in the world. We can make customized equipment on short notice. We are supplying to the bigger manufacturers. Epiroc should be there, not Atlas Copco, sorry for that. Sandvik, Resemin, Ard, and also Komatsu. Short delivery times is what we are trying to aim for. We have our own production, and we also produce things in cooperation with customer specification. And we save for stock here in the house for quick for breakdown use if customer has a hurry. We design and produce things with after the mantra rugged, robust, reliable. Our products made for this application. We don't use plastic. We have metals in basically everything. Well-proven technology. We've been using it since 2005. Delivered quite a lot of sensors and systems. Quite high accuracy. Cost effective and easy installation is things that we try to establish. Atlas Copco Epiroc is one of the main customers, and we are delivering parts for all 3 factories they have. Of course, we are ISO 9001 and 14001 certified. Some examples of our products. Not all of those products are manufactured by us, because there is no, how shall I say, no need for developing a new car tire, a new wheel. So some products we just enhance and put our things on top of it to make it fit the system or fit to the customer. Other things we are designing and making from the basic drawings. Example of systems. If you look at the pictures here, you can see that it's same things coming back all the time. It means that we are also working with a modular system, trying to reduce costs, of course, and also in the spare parts, you can have one spare part and maybe use it on several places. We build the kits depending on which type of rigs: bench rig, production rig, with or without boom, and tunnel rigs as well. Basically, the number of sensors, type of sensors, and the software is the only thing that separates the systems. Sandvik, Epiroc, IRM, Komatsu, and Resemin in Peru are customers of us, so we are quite international and delivering all over the world. Turkey, yes, Turkey is, as we see it, a little bit of a key or a gate to a huge area. Turkey has a large cultural and financial influence in the area around Eastern Mediterranean, Middle East, and eastwards of the country. We have heard earlier today about the mining industry that are booming, and I have heard about Turkish mining for several years now, and this is a great opportunity to get contacts there. We are talking about equipment here, mostly, of course, Swedish equipment, but I know for sure that there are companies in Turkey that also are manufacturing both drill rigs and other machinery for mining and construction. And that's that. That's my short presentation.
Thank you very much, Lars-Erik. And if you have any questions, please post questions in the chat later, or also set up a meeting with Lars-Erik if you want to know more.
You are all more than welcome in one way or another.
Great. Now we have our next speaker, last of the innovation companies, let's say, and not saying that Epiroc is not innovation, but of the smaller ones. It is Widefind, and we have with us today Marcus Sjölund, CEO at Widefind. Please, Mark, it's yours.
Thank you very much. Let's get this up and running. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Are you getting good sound?
All set.
Good, perfect. So, good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you are all well and safe. I'm very honored to be here, and I want to begin with expressing my gratitude towards the people organizing this event. Thank you for putting everything together, and thank you for having us. My name, as I was introduced, is Marcus Sjölund, and I am the CEO of Widefind. And we're a Swedish company that provides solutions in the area of sensing and perception. And we're a spin-off company from Luleå University of Technology, which is Sweden's leading university for applied research in mining. We believe that all businesses and their people should be able to benefit from the advantages of automation and autonomous systems. And we are working to enable more companies to do exactly that. Our contribution, the way our CTO explained it to me long ago, is that we create solutions that enable systems to understand the world that they are supposed to interact with. In mining, high productivity, efficiency, and resource utilization are key. And one way to improve these is through increased automation. However, our experience has taught us that one of the most essential enablers of automation is something that is not readily available in most mines, and that is sufficiently accurate information about where things are and how they are moving. This is also something that is very important for safety, another critical aspect of any mining operation. The following is a quote from Mr. Peter Burman, who manages the mine automation program for Boliden, a Swedish mining company that operates some of the most efficient mines in the world. And he says the following: if you want to digitalize and automate your mine, you need to do it in the same way as everywhere else. You start with connectivity and positioning services, which are the enablers of all other services and applications. You cannot do mine automation without first investing in them. What we want at Boliden is sufficient capacity in our underground networks and positioning accuracy of about 1 meter, because that would enable new applications and services that are currently not possible. It is discussions with people like Mr. Peter that has led us to develop Widefind Whisper, which is a solution for accurate and reliable real-time positioning in underground tunnel environments. Our solution gives mining companies the capability to track the locations of their underground personnel and machines with sub-meter accuracy, and it enables new applications that can increase the safety, productivity, and efficiency of underground mining operations. Widefind Whisper is a system of software and hardware that has been developed and engineered specifically for underground tunnel environments, where the technologies and methods have been selected for robust and reliable positioning of essential assets for production critical applications. To create our solution, we have been working closely with actors in the Swedish mining industry, particularly mining companies Boliden and LKAB. And currently, Widefind Whisper is being deployed in LKAB's Kiruna mine to be utilized in SUM, which is a project where a consortium of Swedish companies will collaborate to develop new best practices for mining at large depths. We are looking for companies in the mining industry that considers the safety of personnel a priority and that believe that underground automation is the future. We're new to Turkey and we are eager to learn more, but we have understood that many of Turkey's mining companies might share our beliefs. And we are interested in having discussions with these companies to learn about their business objectives and understand how we could support them in achieving those. Further, we're also interested in the initiation of pilot projects to explore and evaluate specific use cases for accurate positioning underground. Thank you all for your attention, and do not hesitate to contact us if this has sparked an interest and you're interested in having a discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marcus. That was our last, let's say, technology presentation. And of course, again, you can ask your questions in the chat for the Q&A session that will follow after the last presentation. And also, of course, you can book meetings. Our next presenter is Mr. Ulmas Musaliyev, Principal Banker at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Please, Mr. Musaliyev, Ulmas Bey, the screen is yours.
Good morning. Thank you for the invite to this conference, and thank you for the organizers of this conference. It's my pleasure to be here second time. This time it's virtual, but nevertheless, hopefully the next one will be physical. So we'll see each other face to face. Batuhan, if you can just go to the next slide, please. Yes, apologies. On my end, I cannot share the screen, so I will ask Batuhan to go through the presentation and 10 pages. So very briefly, I will talk about EBRD, what we do. I guess most of the people here know about the bank, but I will still go very quickly. I will talk about natural resources team and what we do, and the last will be a brief case study on the TUMAT project, which we financed. So EBRD is an international financial institution. It has a sustainable development mandate across 38 countries where we operate. Our largest shareholders, 27 EU countries, US and Japan. Next slide, please. We have invested nearly 150 billion euro in nearly 6,000 projects over the last 30 years. The majority of our investments are in debt and to the private sector. As you can see, Turkey came as a top investment destination across our country's operations last year, based on last year's results, followed by Egypt and Ukraine. Next slide, please. In terms of financing instruments and what we can offer, it's a broad range across debt, equity, and guarantees, and anything in between debt and equity. Ticket size could be up to 300 million, and the average size loan is about 20 million. We typically finance up to 7 years. It could be longer if you're talking about larger infrastructure projects. And we can come at different stages. As early as feasibility stage, we can finance some pre-development work, greenfield, projects going into production, greenfield projects, expansion and modernization capex. And the maximum financing is up to 35% of a project size. Next slide, please. Here, I just put a slide to talk about EBRD's COVID response, where the first MDB, multilateral development institution, which agreed to crisis response back in March last year. We committed to invest 21 billion over the next, 2022, 2020, 2021, 2022 to counter the economic impact and put in place so-called solidarity package approved by the board. It will help short-term liquidity of the existing clients. It will support SMEs to make them more resilient and essential infrastructure. Next slide, please. Here, this slide talks about briefly about the natural resources team and what we do. We invested nearly 9 billion in around 200 projects. We have a growing money portfolio over the last 2 years as the bank is diversifying away from upstream oil, thermal coal, and so on. You might be aware that many FIs are now not supporting upstream oil. There are some discussions about what we should do with upstream gas. But in terms of midstream and downstream, this is business as usual for us. And money, obviously, is getting more and more important for us. Next slide, please. Here is just some examples of the projects which we financed in the mining space for the last few years. In Turkey, you can see some recent transactions with TUMAT and Centerra Gold. Next slide, please. Yeah, and here I'll talk about case studies with TUMAT. So we provided two debt financing to TUMAT, the gold mines back in 2017 and 2020. TUMAT is a subsidiary of Nural Holding, which is a diversified Turkish conglomerate. TUMAT was established in 1989 as supply construction materials to Nurol's construction business. It then expanded into metals mining in 2012, 2014, and later on in 2017 they focused primarily on metals mining, having divested construction materials business. The project which we supported is development, at least back in 2017. It's development of two mines, two greenfield mines, Lapseki and Vrinzi, both gold mines located in Çanakkale and Balıkesir provinces. The original project was a 200 million project, which we financed together with Ziraat and Ag Bank, and the loan was fully guaranteed by Nurol. Between the two mines, Lapseki was the first one to develop. It's a smaller mine with higher grades, and Vrinzi sort of was the next one after Lapseki was completed. It is a larger mine with smaller grade. So based on that approach, our financing was also arranged in stages, and we said that we're going to finance Vrinzi once the Lapseki construction is completed. We, as part of the project, worked together with the company, and we completed, the company completed environmental social impact assessment. It was not only according to local standards, but it was prepared according to EBRD's environmental social policy. The impact assessment was disclosed for 60 days for public consultations before the project was approved by the bank's board. And if you look at transition impact, it is also an important part of the story because we are a development bank. It promoted regional youth inclusion, so we looked at economic inclusion in the region. We looked at operational efficiency with use of best available technology in mining. We looked at how we can improve linkages between the industry and training and educational institutions, and how we can address skill mismatches. Sorry, the presentation went to the first page. You can go back to the last slide. Last but not least, we also looked at how we can work with the company and improve international standards, including the company signing up to International Cyanide Management Code. We looked at introduction of best practices in environmental, social, health and safety, and eventually the Bureau agreed to sign up to UN Global Compact. In 2020 was, if you can, the slide has been. In 2020, we worked together with the company and we put in place next financing that was linked to developments in the Turkish financial market because Nurol, among other local groups, faced an increased short-term financial pressure. And with lack of long-term financing on the market and local banks traditionally rolling short-term loans, that became more difficult in the market. And while Tomat project on its own was quite successful, the group opened discussion to refinance the existing and other loans which they raised to finance the mines, so that they can strengthen their balance sheet, that they can put in place longer-term financing, and they can focus on long-term development of their other businesses. So it's not only Tomat, but also other businesses of Nurol Group. Within the context of this project, we also supported the same elements of transition impact. We put in place a TC program which complemented what the company was doing. It's a 100,000 TC program to support economic inclusion. So the project is working quite well. It is broadly in line with our plan, with the original plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ulmas Bey. I would now like to invite, let's say, all the speakers and presenters to a moderated Q&A session. So please, for everybody in the audience, write your questions in the chat. If there's anything you would like to ask, we will then moderate the questions from the chat to the speakers. Before that, again, I want to remind you, continue booking meetings. We now have almost 50 booked and accepted meetings Good. Maybe just to start general, let me see, is Mehmet Bey, are you still online? I will just do a head count. I think Jenny is still online. Yes. Frank is here. Kevin. Do I see Kevin? Lars-Erik and Marcus are here.
Absolutely.
Good. Maybe Mehmet Bey will join us.
I'm here.
You are here. You are here. Great.
Okay.
Good. I think this was all very interesting presentations. I would maybe like to start with you, Mehmet. Let's say going back to get an overview on the Turkish mining landscape. We have heard a lot of presenters are speaking about sustainability, sustainable mining, actually both from a technology point of view, also from a financial point of view. What do you see? What is Turkey's strategy and path towards more sustainable mining?
Thanks for that, Aydin. And right now, at the moment, almost 16 different mining NGOs in Turkey, we have taken a common decision and to make sure that the industry players are going to spend effort to act according to sustainable mining. And on that common target, including the other 16 mining NGOs, our aim is to try to bring the standards to the industry. And we have made, as the Miners Association of Turkey, we have made some attempts to work together with Mining Association of Canada to be able to implement their towards sustainable mining program. And this was just started in March 2020, but unfortunately after this COVID-19 issues, it has been delayed a little bit. What we do have some similar cases in other countries like Greece, and I guess there's another European country that they've been involved with this program. So it brings certain standards and criteria regarding to sustainable mining operations. So I think this is a way to be able to somehow promote the good operators as a general term, and plus try to motivate and educate the operators below the threshold. So this is one of the approach, and at the same time, the government, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Ministry of Environment and other ministries, Ministry of Agriculture, they will be involved. We will try to get their attention and their involvement in this approach, and it's going to certainly bring a standard. And one other program, especially in gold mining sector, we've been trying to motivate the players to be able to participate a volunteer-based certification system, which is ICMI, International Cyanide Management System, which brings certain standards from the point of cyanide production up to the end user. So that includes all kind of interim stages like transportation, handling, rehandling, and stuff like that. So I think this is another important approach that we've been trying to motivate the industry, especially on gold mining side. So as a general, especially if you look at the latest cases that we've seen in country, unfortunately, a general negative approach to mining and or gold mining and or quarries and or natural stones or coal and whatever it is. This is telling us something right now, and we need to be able to behave friendly to the environment, and collaborating with the local people, and also make all kind of information available to the stakeholders and work with the stakeholders. In today's world, you can't really close the doors and you can't really say that, okay, I'm doing my job fine. Nobody can ask me questions. This is in the past. And that's why, as a general statement, NGOs, I mean mining NGOs, State of Turkey, related ministries, and the other environmental and or other NGOs, we have to work together. Because if our country is spending almost $45 billion per year to buy mining products out of country, then we have to support the industry in Turkey and get the know-how, get the best available technologies from the other countries like Sweden. If it's Canada, get it from Canada. If it's Sweden, get it from Sweden. If it's somewhere else, get it from anywhere else, so that we can support the industry in Turkey. So that's why, again, 16 mining NGOs, we've been using a motto that's called human first, environment next, mining after. So I think that explains our approach to sustainable mining, Edin.
Thank you very much. That is very interesting indeed. We actually do have a question that is touching upon this, and it's a question to Ulmas Bey. So it's a question about the latest Bank Watch report, and which has some allegations towards financial institutions on financing extractive industry projects. Ulmas Bey, are you aware of this report, and what is your opinion on this?
Okay, I have. Yeah, thanks for the question. I have not seen the report. We have part of the team, and we have a group which are working on this report, and our Norato team is involved in this as well. But what we normally do, we invite NGOs, including Backwatch, to provide comments whenever our new policies are released for public consultations. And this is with respect to sort of general approach, but equally when we have some projects, I mentioned about tomato case, we publish project summary documents which are available for public view, and also once environmental social impact assessment is completed on projects, it is normally out for greenfield project for 60 days. So that's the time for NGOs, local communities, public, anyone interested in such projects to provide comments, to raise questions. And we invite, at that point of time, when we invite sort of information sessions, we ask companies to set up offices where public can come and get questions, to get answers to their questions. So this is our general approach.
Sorry, and how will sustainable financing in EBRD policies affect upcoming projects?
Sustainable financing, our environmental social policy was updated a couple of years ago. It reflects sustainable development of projects. As part of the policy, we look at how to make projects more sustainable, how to raise standards. We look at the whole process, starting from the companies going into production, through the operations, into closure of mines. And we want to make sure that the companies develop their project in a sustainable and responsible way. So we put in place an environmental social action plan, and we do regular monitoring with companies. And we have consultants, especially in larger projects, which are involved in that monitoring. So this is sort of continuous discussion. And this is how we ensure that companies develop their projects and further operate their projects in a sustainable way.
Thank you, Ulmas Bey. We have a question from Ms. Elif Tekin Alagül from Esan, part of the Eczabaşı group. Ms. Elif Hanım, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I have a quick question to Ulmas again. I was wondering your thoughts on the future investment projects, both in Turkey and Sweden, or anywhere that EBRD is looking, going interest in mining projects, and the relationship with the ESG regulations. Do you think there are going to be any negative impacts on, especially the projects in Turkish side, that it would sort of sacrifice some mining investments that would be coming from EBDR?
Okay. Okay. We just to make it clear, we don't work in Sweden. It's not one of our countries' operation, but Turkey definitely is, and I'm based in Turkey, to look after marketing efforts in Turkey and do some projects. So as far as it's business as usual for us. We work with companies, and we like to make sure that the ESG issues are properly reflected. We see that in the industry, larger companies, not only larger mining companies, but other companies are paying more close attention, because investors are obviously demanding more focus on green and sustainable agenda. And so it is becoming increasingly harder for companies to raise financing without that being in place. I mentioned about environmental social policy. It looks after those issues. We also have, I mentioned about a few standards which we have and working on with companies. So a combination of the environmental social policy and the standards, they allow us to work together and ensure that companies develop their projects in line with those standards. Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ulmas Bey. Going back to sustainability, I mean, it is obviously a top priority both for the Swedish and for the Turkish mining industry. Jenny, from a Swedish point of view, in the Swedish mining industry, what are the most important challenges that you see?
Hang on. Oh yes, well, I would say that they're all connected to sustainability. It's a lot of focus on becoming fossil free, and it's a lot of focus on the implementation of digitalization and everything enabling autonomous operations. But I would say that one challenge that maybe we should talk more about is access to people, human resources. And this is something I know that Turkey has very good mining education programs and a lot of students in mining education programs. In Sweden, we have a big challenge because we have very little mining engineering students and very few programs. So I think this challenge, access to people, and also not only educating them, but also maybe attracting students from other sectors to work in our industry is a challenge. Because we see that without them, we can't do anything. So we have another thing that's, I would say, at least in Sweden, a big challenge, and that's our permitting processes. Mm-hmm. We see that when we're trying to, for instance, extract new minerals out of, for instance, mine waste, permitting processes regarding that is very long and very unsecure, or we don't know how it's, I would say it's not super clear to follow. And also the permitting process for new mines is extremely long and difficult. So this is a challenge and can potentially be a factor that slows down the innovation speed.
Thank you very much. This is indeed very interesting. The point you mentioned about people and people skills. We see this in other industries as well, industries that are affected by digital transformation, automation, etc. We're talking about sustainability, emissions. We're talking about zero emissions, and Frank, you really put it on paper how much emissions we are actually giving out today in mining and what the future can be. What is the most common reason for a mine to move towards zero emission?
Well, I would say at least the Swedish mines, they all have this ambition. we're all very aware of the UN sustainability goals, and we know that our industry needs to be more sustainable. So we don't have any regulatory reasons yet. We expect this to come, but the industry is moving before the authorities here in this sense. So I would say it's also a matter for the Swedish mining companies they actually see themselves as part of a solution, sometimes a little bit part of the problem right now, but part of the future solution for a sustainable world, and also, of course, for the sustainable supply of the raw materials that society needs. So I would say that the driver is both that, but also economic drivers, because we know that sustainable produced metals and minerals will be preferred by the buyers in the near future. And as soon as we can prove that the minerals and metals are produced sustainable, for instance, through a traceability scheme, then we can actually also start getting paid for this. So it's also an economic reason.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much. Frank, from your point of view, what do you see? Why do mines turn to zero emission, or why do they, and why should they?
Yes. Thanks for the question. The answer is that it varies. We see some customers, they're clearly on the chase for diesel particulate matters. This is the top priority for them, and that's what's pushing them towards battery electrification. We have another customer, it's more the global aspect, realizing taking their social responsibilities by saying we cannot consume so much energy to produce our metals. We cannot continue to emit so much carbon dioxide. We have some projects we've worked on that are greenfield projects, and those are extremely interesting because in a greenfield project, if you decide day one to go for zero emission, then it gives you a chance to dimension your ventilation systems, your cooling or heating systems accordingly. And there you can achieve great savings compared to more traditional fossil-based mining. So it varies a lot from mine to mine, country to country, company to company. And then there are some I would classify perhaps Sweden and in Canada in this group as well, always on the forefront when it comes to new technology. So it's not a universal approach. It varies quite a lot, and we have to tackle and to support these customers and interests in different way.
And of course, this switch is very important. And how do we do the switch from fossil to zero emission? You mentioned that that you have battery electrical vehicles available both as new equipment, but also you upgrade existing equipment. Is this available for all segments, or is it for certain customer segments only?
It's available for all segments, but the offering is limited in which models can be converted or available as capital equipment. But the idea here is that if a brownfield mine project wants to move towards lower emission, they can decide to go for new capital equipment. If they don't want to take so much risk or don't have the same budget, they can go for conversion. Others are thinking even reduce the risk and the cost. The drill rigs are very good entry level, I would say, as they don't require any infrastructure, such as the charging stations. It's done when you're connected to the grid when you're performing your drilling. So we see different approaches from being quite aggressive to wanting to test and have a taste of it. And by offering both prime equipment or capital equipment and field conversions, we're capable of catering for different needs that we see.
Mm. And do you have any electrical vehicles or battery electrical vehicles in operation in Turkey at the moment?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. With this new generation of machines, we have customer commitment in 10 countries, a very widespread geographically. I mean, we have Australia, Kazakhstan, Sweden, Finland, Canada, Chile, Spain, South Africa. But today, not yet in Turkey, but I've been I've had some good discussions with our local colleagues of Epiroc Turkey and their customers, and I think it will come. I'm quite convinced it will come rather soon. And we'll
of course, the financials are a big factor there. You mentioned this battery as a service. Is that something that you offer globally?
Absolutely. From these 10 customers that have committed to battery electrification, a vast majority have opted to go for batteries as a service, and this is a global offering. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Frank. I would like now to turn to our innovative SMEs, and we heard from Marcus Widefind that you seem to be a very specialized company. Why did you choose to focus on positioning specifically?
Thank you for the question. At the university, our founders were originally working to enable autonomous drones to operate in real-world complex environments. And the thing that was missing then, and is still to a large degree, was something that provides really accurate and reliable position reference data, which is what our founders went on to create. And after that, as with any company, I guess we have been shaped by our home market. And what I mean by that is that our customers and partners in Sweden already have a lot of different systems, and what they first and foremost want is not another screen to look at. Rather, they need more and better data that they can utilize to improve many of the existing systems. And that is one reason why we are so focused. Another is that we believe that many important challenges, for example, related to automation, are simply too complex for any one company to try to solve on their own. And therefore, what is important is that solutions from different vendors can be fitted together to create a whole. And in the end, all mines are different and the needs will be different. So we aim to be specialized and for interoperability and for being able to supply accurate precision data to whatever application the customer wishes to use it for.
And what is the value that mining companies can gain from working with you?
As I stated in our presentation, precision data is an enabler for various applications that have the potential to improve safety, productivity, efficiency, all of which are essential for mining companies. And this was probably crystal clear from the presentation as well. One of the most important aspects is that it's a fundamental building block for high levels of automation and utilization of autonomous systems in the future. So in general, we believe that the availability of data provides companies with the opportunities to innovate and find new ways to improve their businesses. But to mention a few applications specifically, there are search and rescue, traffic management, dynamic geofencing, material flow tracking, and let's say continuous network quality mapping.
Thank you, Marcus. A little bit the same question to you, Lars-Erik. Let's say you are also working with helping within precision technology. What can mining companies gain from working with your solutions or your support?
Yes, basically it's two overhead things: safety and economical. And with economical, you also can say sustainability, because it goes hand in hand. If you know where to drill, you can increase the safety of the later part of the next coming part, the blasting. How is that going to be? It's also the matter of financial sustainability, that you can increase the productivity of the mine or the quarry or the construction site by drilling the right. You can drill less holes, less meters, and therefore also use less resources of the earth. And of course, you can reduce basically all the costs you have over time. So this is a quite old thing of measuring something as simple as angles on a drill rig. As I said, this company was started in 1972, and we have basically been in this track all the way since then, just trying to improve the drilling quality.
So I suspect there are challenges on the technical level in the mining industry when it comes to these issues.
Yes, of course there are. You firstly have to have the will of doing this, and I'm very happy to hear that the level of education on the miners in the mine and so on are high, both on the blue and white collar people, because if the mind isn't there, in the end you don't use anything that are too complicated for you and so on. So you have to have the skills firstly, and then you can put the technology on the skills and so on. So there's a challenge, of course, for the mines, but if they are already there, then it's good for them. Next step is to try to cope with the drill rig manufacturers, because it's someone is making very complex rigs that challenge us by putting the right sensors on it, and there we have to have all the time develop more intelligent sensors, measuring more and more things in a three-dimensional way, and so on. Gyros is coming for measuring angles compared to gravity and things like that. And gyro technology is expensive, so how can we try to reduce the cost for the end customer?
Thank you, Lars-Erik. And of course, as you say, yeah, and then we're going to digital systems and Industry 4.0. And here I wanted to ask you, Kevin, from OrExplore.
Yeah.
I have been muted.
What was the question?
Yes, I see somebody muted me. So what do you see? I mean, you have quite complicated solutions, mixing digital and tech and mechanical, etc. What do you see is the maturity level of digital systems in the mining industry? And do you have any knowledge of Turkey in particular?
Well, I would say that the technology is probably already in place, but a challenge is that we need to find ways of integrating these things together so that we can get a more of a seamless workflow, and I think that's a challenge for, well, I've seen it, all over the world, that mining companies especially, I think they kind of work in silos a little bit. So it's very important to make sure that all the information that companies like ourselves provide, that it can flow freely across the value chain. And I think this is true for a lot of different data sources in general.
And how do you think we can improve system integration and interoperability applications along the mining value chain?
Well, I think it's very important that companies like ourselves and the bigger companies are able to work collaboratively together and really figure out how, well, in joint collaborative projects, how this can happen in practice. I think it's a lot of talking about this at the moment, and there are companies that are working with kind of being like, let's say, hubs and stuff like that. But really try to break down these barriers. I think that's the key, and have the opportunity to work, let's say, on the inside of these larger companies. Then I think that's the key for it to happen.
Thank you very much. Please, if you have any questions, write them in the chat or raise your hand. Just wanted to go back a little bit to the big picture. Mehmet Bey, how important is mining for Turkey today, and how will this grow in the future? Is Mehmet still with us? Okay, very well. I think Mehmet is maybe not hearing us, but I can then just turn to Jenny. And one thing that you mentioned about cooperating with Swedish Mining Innovation and Swedish Mining Innovation Program, how can Turkish companies or other stakeholders collaborate with Swedish partners through your program?
Yes, well, like I said, we have a lot of foreign actors already working in our program together with the Swedish partners, and practically it works so that the public funding goes to the Swedish partners, for instance, an SME or another company, and then the public funding, and then the foreign partner can be part of the project and benefit from the results and from the work in the project. So that's something we can do. We can also invite Turkish partners to our events where we share experiences and discuss challenges with relevant experts from the Swedish companies and so on. So it's all about knowledge sharing and trying to find different ways of collaboration. We've had similar events like this in many different countries, and in Australia, for instance, last time we were there, this resulted in a big collaboration between Australian mining companies, Swedish research providers, and Swedish equipment suppliers. So I think it's all a matter of trying to connect and find these common things that we can benefit from working together with, to not solve the problems in our own countries separately, but just solve them together instead.
And the funding, is it your funding, or do you work, for example, with Eureka, Eurostars schemes?
Yeah, we have our basic funding from Vinnova, the Swedish Innovation Agency, but we also try to leverage that money with applying for other types of funding. So actually, as we speak, we have leveraged our money, I think, 45 times with European funding and so on. And then we help the actors to come together and apply for this other types of funding from European Union, for instance. So we do both.
Okay, good. This is maybe some homework for us to look into until next time that we meet. I know that the Turkish TÜBİTAK, of course, also works with Eureka, Eurostars. So that's definitely some homework for us to do until next time. And I see, Mehmet, you're back with us, or you were there, but there has been some technical issues.
Yes.
Going back to the big picture, how important is mining for Turkey, and how will this importance be in the future?
Thanks for that, Edin. Actually, I was properly hearing you. Somehow my voice wasn't going through. First of all, in general picture, in Turkey, we have approximately, for instance, for the year 2022, the deficit for mining trade was about $45 billion. So we were actually paying money to buy mine products out of country. And I believe that we have a big potential, great potential to be able to produce and at first target make it 0 to 0 to save this amount in country. And we have variety of mine products that we are buying from out of country, which is importing. For year 2020, it was mostly gold. It was $25 billion almost was paid for gold. Although we were producing in 2020, I think we produced 42 tons of gold, which was a record. So as a general target, this is the target by the Ministry of Natural Resources as well. Kind of close this gap as much as possible during the forthcoming years. And then, as in many other countries, at the mining industry, potential JVs will probably bring the forces together. That could be private and foreign and local company JVs, or even the government is paying great attention to mining. Recently, under the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the government formed a new mining company so that they can look for development of the, say, major projects. By definition, that's what the foundation authorities are describing, and they're saying that for some major projects that are not in the immediate interest of the private industry, either local or international, it doesn't matter, they're willing to spend time and money to develop those projects for the industry. So as a matter of fact, in general, the government sees that mining is one of the leading industry for many of developed countries like Canada, like United States, like Australia. So if we have the potential in our country, I think what government believes that mining could easily be a leading industry for more value and creation of jobs and contribution to economy. And it's quite clear. Maybe Murat Bey is already listening to us while I'm making those explanations. And I believe that they've been spending their best effort to be able to support the industry by just giving the licenses and permits based on the legislation, based on the regulatory requirements, so that the country will try to generate and produce more, create more jobs, get more taxes, and also save the funds in country for the other national purposes. And mining again is a very important leading industry for country of Turkey in the eye of the government and in the eye of the private industry.
Thank you very much, Mehmet. Thank you very much. I think this was a very, very interesting discussion, very, very interesting presentations. We are very much looking forward to continue this platform. And I just want to, I think we are at the end of our session right now. I would like to thank everyone involved. Thank you to all speakers. Thank you to all presenters. Before we go for lunch here, I would like to remind everybody to check your profiles on our website. Check your B2Match profile. Accept or reject any meetings that you have. And you can still book more meetings, so you can still request meetings. If you have any technical questions, please contact us. Big thanks to all our partners, Team Sweden, of course, Embassy of Sweden, the ambassador, our main partner Epiroc, which is present here in Turkey, who has a large presence here in Turkey, and also a big team at this event, also available for meetings later on this afternoon. Thank you also for the Turkish for the Miners Association of Turkey. Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you, Ali Bey, and all our speakers and partners here today. This concludes our main webinar session. I wish you all a great afternoon and fruitful meetings. And of course, if there's any questions or any support that we can provide to you, you can turn to us. Of course, one thing that I would like to mention that I actually forgot is that, of course, if you have any questions about Swedish export financing, which we talked about last year, you are welcome to contact us, and we can provide basic information and also introduce you to the right people at the Swedish Export Credit Agency. Thank you very much for participating, and good luck this afternoon. Wish you all fruitful meetings, and stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.